All right. And as always, just got to get this Instagram feed started. And there we go. I am Coach James. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, elastic force, a range of topics. After we've covered all of the science topics, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student selects a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the class. Once they have selected their cars, they take a picture of their car, they shoot a video, they weigh the car, they test the speed of their car, they check the year the car was manufactured, they examine the materials the car is made out of. After they have observed everything they can and they enter that information into the spreadsheet, then there's nothing else to do but put the cars on our 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip. They race the cars, and we see exactly how their cars performed, and they make their observations, and they determine whether or not they would choose that car again or make a different choice based on what they observed if they had the opportunity. So in the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars. We learn about science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is go to our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, Aerodynamics, and all the information that you need to contact me is in the bio. But this is not All About Aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesdays? On Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, what we do is we have the Funtech Labs 1/64th scale wind tunnel, otherwise known as the Windsible. We are able to put Hot Wheels cars inside there. We turn on the smoke streams. The air flows over, under, and around the cars, and we're able to observe how much drag will impact a given car when it gets the opportunity to race on our track. Drag is one of the key forces that is working against the forward momentum of these cars when they're racing on our track. And so this device gives us the opportunity to kind of get an idea about how we think the car will perform based on what we observe inside the wind tunnel. And that is what we are going to do today. But you have the opportunity, as always, to participate because you can select a car to go into the wind tunnel. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, and you will have 3 options. One's a YouTube stream link, one's a Twitch stream link, but the third most important link is the link that says choose your car. If you select that link, you will be taken to this page, and on this page, you will find all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet, listed, catalog, numbered, and ready for you to select. And if you find a car that you would like to see in the wind tunnel, then all you have to do is find that car. Let's say I'm going to pick a random number, 391. So if we go to car number 391, by the way, there are 922 cars currently in the fleet, but we're going to go to car 391. And matter of fact, so that's the Pixel Shaker, this one. It's like a bone shaker made to look like an 8-bit kind of car. If that's the car that you think would be fastest in the series of races, but you're not sure and you want to see it in the wind tunnel, all you have to do is just take that number, in this case 391, drop it into the chat, and I will pull that car. Or you could go down a few. This is a version of my favorite Hot Wheels cars, this number 394, the Torino Stalker. My favorite one is I have one that has the gold Hot Ones wheels, but this car has a better, the paint job is in better condition than that one, because the one that I have with the gold Hot Ones wheels is original. They're all original, but it's the one that I had and played with when I was a kid, and was one of my favorite Hot Wheels cars, and remains so to this day. The one with the gold Hot Ones wheels means that the axle is nickel plated, and therefore there's going to be less friction when the wheels are spinning. And in theory, that should allow it to keep up its speed for longer. And it's a fast car, but like a lot of those cars from the 70s and 80s, it is all metal. Metal base, metal body. And what that means is it's got that additional weight. It's going to be a heavier car. And on our track, that it's a flat drag track, being a heavier car does not help you. Now, on gravity tracks, that extra weight can help a car out, depending on, how much weight it's carrying. But on our track, it's not, having a heavier car is not ideal. So that's one of the things you can look for when you look at these pictures, is whether or not the car is plastic on metal, metal on plastic, or in some cases metal on metal. But nevertheless, there are 922 different cars for you to choose from. We have cars of every style, every type. If we don't have the exact car that you're looking for, I'm pretty sure odds are that we have something that is very close, very similar. But all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and pick it. Now I'm seeing car number 434, this Mattel Dreammobile. And the reason that caught my eye is because I was just in the store the other day, and I picked one of these up. And that's kind of the part of the problem, is that I will be in a store, I will see a car, and just because it looks cool, I'll pick it up. And then later on, I'll find out whether or not we have a duplicate in the fleet. And if we have a duplicate, then that means the duplicate car cannot stay. It gets tossed into the prize bin, and some student will get the opportunity to select that car during the course of the class. But what we are going to do today is we're going to take a look at some of the cars that are going to be competing on Saturday. Hey, Christopher, I will be pulling those cars that you have listed, and we will see if those cars are which of those cars is the one that you end up selecting for the races on Saturday. And we race the cars on Saturday. I introduce new cars into the fleet. Viewers pick cars. We race those cars, and the cars that win, we have a little tournament. And the car that wins that tournament gets an opportunity to race our fastest in fleet car. Our fastest in fleet car for the majority of this year and a good part of the second half of last year was the Blitz Speeder. And I say was because this past Saturday on AtTheTrack.live, the Blitz Speeder lost, and we have a new fastest in fleet car. The Blitz Speeder was so fast and so dominant, I was thinking there wasn't going to be a car that could beat it. It just didn't seem at all likely. And then this past Saturday, we finally found that car. Beat the Blitz Speeder definitively. I will say with a bit of an asterisk, but let's take a look at our new fastest in fleet car. It is this one. It is the Dog Fighter. It is a old airplane inspired car that it raced on the track. At some point, it was last year. It may even have been 2023. And it surprised us. It did well. And if you look on our Instagram account and you scroll back, there's a post about the Dog Fighter where it was like the sleeper surprise car of that tournament. Now, it didn't win. It was beaten out, but it was shockingly fast. And the thing is, it goes against all of the sort of conventional wisdom rules that we have for cars that race on our track, starting with the back end. Usually, We want cars to have a wide, flat back end so that they press up against the launching block and get a good, forceful, consistent, even push out of the launcher. This car doesn't have that. It's got this tail right here, but it comes to this point, and so it barely has any part of the car touching the launching block. Like, this is it. Just that little sliver right there. So that already goes against everything that we've seen and observed that tells us which kinds of cars should do well. Then we come around to the front, and this area is interesting. So it's got the propeller, but the area behind the propeller, this gold, bronze, copper looking section behind it, that is interesting because, bring it up close, you would think that should be creating a huge frontal area that is going to be a barrier. When the airflow hits that, you would think that the air pressure, it would just build up here and work to slow this thing down. Now it is open, this little archway, it is open, you can see there on the sides, so the air can ultimately get around and through this thing, but it just, every car that we've had with a huge frontal area has been slow, and we know that that's going to increase the amount of drag, but with this car, those rules just don't seem to apply, and it is, it's just the most unusual car we've ever had on the track that has actually done well. And we are going to find out this Saturday if it is going to continue to do well, if it's going to hold on and defend its title, or if some other car is going to beat it. And one of those cars that could beat it might be a car that you select. So just go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car. Today you can pick a car to see in the wind tunnel. On Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, you can pick a car to actually race in the tournament. And if you beat out all those cars, you will get to challenge the Dogfighter. Now, I said there's an asterisk. There's an asterisk because the Dogfighter is a taller car. Because of the back end, it is a taller car than most. And what that means is I designed a launcher to fire the cars out with a lot of force, and more force than you can find with any kind of off the shelf Mattel Hot Wheels product or even a booster. Fires the cars off with a lot of force. But what that means is the cars tend to come out of the launcher and go up into the air initially. There's so much force they just fire off up into the air and they were leaving the track. So I had to create and design an acrylic cover to slide over the top of the launcher. And basically what happens with this cover is when the cars launch out, they go up into the air, they hit the top of this, and then they come right back onto the track. And because the track's a little bit elevated, there's not very much room. They just go up, hit that, and get right back on the track, and then proceed down the track, and we have a good race. This is the cover that works for the majority of cars. And I don't know if you can see on here, but all of these scuff marks that are here, that's all from cars that have hit the top of this and come down. But it's the way that we keep the cars on the track. Well, when we have taller cars, I have another of these covers that is about 1/4 of an inch taller. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it turns out it is a lot because the Dogfighter required the taller cover, which is fine. So the Dogfighter with the taller cover comes in, goes up, hits the top, stays on the track. No problem. But when it's racing a smaller car, a standard car, now that car has an extra 1/4 inch that it goes up into the air before it hits the top and comes back down. Doesn't sound like much, but it makes a difference for the smaller car, because having to go up just that quarter of an inch higher, hit the acrylic, and then come back down, it takes a fraction of a second longer. But more often than not, we see it takes a little longer for the shorter or the standard car to correct itself. So the question is, did the blitz speeder was it at a disadvantage because it had to race with the taller acrylic cover? And the answer to that, we should find out this Saturday, because what we're going to do, and I just came back from the acrylic shop, and I had them cut these pieces of acrylic, and they're different sizes. There's a bunch of, they look similar, but there's a bunch of different sizes. So what I am going to build and have ready for Saturday is an acrylic cover where one side is higher to accommodate a taller car and one side is lower to accommodate a standard car. So now no car will have an advantage, and we'll see if the Dogfighter ends up still being the dominant car when we make that correction. So at this point, up till now, we've only had either the shorter acrylic cover or the taller one. And when we have a taller car, shorter standard cars have to race with that, and we've seen some issues. So we're going to find out this Saturday at the Track Live whether or not that is going to make a difference. So I just have to finish building and putting all those acrylic pieces together, building that new double-sided cover, and we'll be good to go. But today, what we are going to do, we are going to look at the Dogfighter. We are going to put it into the wind tunnel, and we are going to see what it is. Just hopefully we're going to be able to tell what is going on with this car in terms of its aerodynamics, because it's just unlikely that it should be this fast and this successful on the track, given everything that we know and typically see. So let's go ahead, jump over here to the wind tunnel. Hey, Never Ending, how you doing? He has. Oh, yeah. Never Ending and Chris are the two who actually picked this. And it was a combination. Never Ending was looking, Chris made the suggestion, Never Ending went with the pick, and that was it. Hey Ryan, how are you doing? And yeah, that was the combination in the car that actually took the race. So let's go ahead and get this Dogfighter arranged right here. Again, just the most unique car. I went back and looked at the post that I made the last time the Dogfighter was in the tournament, and it was definitely a sleeper car that had surprising results. And this time it was the most surprising, probably the most shocking result, because I didn't expect it to be competitive with the Blitz Speeder, let alone beat it. And that's exactly what it did. Let me wipe my fingerprint off of glass here. All right, let's go ahead, fire up the Windsible, and see if we can see what in the world is going on with the Dogfighter. So we should get that little pop of smoke. There we go. All right, so one thing we see, even at this low speed, is that air is hitting. So right behind this yellow arch is that gold circular piece. And we see that the air is hitting there, and it's not flowing right through. If it was flowing right through, we wouldn't see this buildup. But it's hitting the propeller, and that other piece, that round piece right behind it. And now it's having to come up over the top and around. And we see the air is just flowing right in that direction. It's predominantly going up and over the top. So let's go ahead and turn the speed up and see exactly what we are looking at. And you still see the air still moving up over the top. I think the back part of the dog fighter is it's not really that controversial because it's got this sort of cylindrical airplane shape. I think the part that's so unusual is right here at the front with that arch, and the fact that this thing was able to beat out the Blitzspeeder. And like I said, right now we're at 121 miles per hour. We're going to step this up to 147. And again, you can just see that air is coming in, hitting right at the propeller line, and then flowing up. You can just kind of see the direction that things are flowing in. They're going up, and then as they go up, they're coming through that archway because it's not sealed. So air is still moving through there, and once the air moves through there, then it's kind of appears to be interacting with the body of the airplane, but that's pretty narrow, and there's nothing on the back end of the plane that suggests there should be some interference with the. Ultimately, there shouldn't be any much interference with the airflow. You see that air flowing out around the sides, but it's really that frontal area right there that is what I'm most kind of curious about. You can see the air is flowing through that area right there, right in the front. And I just didn't expect this car to be able to maintain its speed. We're at 147 miles per hour. Stepping this up to 174. And yeah, it's hard to apply. It's hard to really apply any of the standard rules and concepts and ideas because this car breaks all the rules. And when my students, when they're making their picks and racing their cars and observing how they're performing, we're up to 174 miles per hour, going to go up to 188. When they're observing their cars, after a while, after we've seen so many races, there are certain things and certain trends that we see about the kinds of cars that tend to do well on the track. This car, like I said, it breaks all the rules from the back, starting with the back end, and the fact that it's just got a tiny point of contact with the launching block. It suggests that this car, what should happen is this car should fly around the track and crash and get very inconsistent launches. That's not the case. It gets very good launches. That huge frontal area suggests that there should be so much drag and resistance at the front that this car has to push through that it shouldn't be as fast as it is. But it is. It is fast. And there's no real denying that. So we are going to find out exactly. We might not be able to answer the why, but we will definitely be able to find out whether or not the different levels of acrylic cover helped, or if the Dogfather is just the ultimate sleeper car. And I can see some of the air flowing through, so it's coming here, and I can see it flowing through this side. So it's coming around the side of that. You can see right there, right here. that air is coming around the sides of that big kind of medallion that's behind the propeller, and it's flowing this way. And once it gets to the body of the airplane part, then, you know, that's a cylinder, and it's not, and it's actually more cone shaped. So we're getting a pretty good aerodynamic profile from this part, this area back, but it just still amazes me that with everything happening in the front, that this car was not slowed down by the drag in the same way that all of those other cars that we tend to see are. So the Dogfighter is our current fastest in fleet champion, and what we're going to do is there's another car that raced on Saturday that we're going to take a look at, which is, let me slow down the airflow here. The Dogfighter, our new fastest in fleet champion, taking out the Blitzspeeder after the Blitzspeeder was just on a ridiculous run of 17 weeks last year, and at least the last 6 months of this year. So the Dogfighter is our new fastest in fleet champion, and if we look at it, it's just so unique. But that area there, right here, this little, that metal, I guess I'm just calling it this medallion back here, it is open, so the air can flow around it, and maybe this arch helps direct the airflow possibly, but it's just amazing that the air can build up at the front of this thing, find a way to flow over, under, and around this big medallion, and this thing still maintains its speed. We've also seen cars that have, usually it's the F1 style cars with these open cockpits, and this one is open. Didn't make a difference to the Dogfighter. Dogfighter took it, and that's just how it was. So we are going to find out on Saturday whether or not the Dogfighter can fend off all the other cars and the Blitzspeeder. Once I have constructed the new acrylic cover, we're going to find out. This one, this is the, what was this? This is the 22 Ford Maverick Custom. This truck also raced on Saturday, and the thing that's interesting about this, and the reason why I'm bringing it to the wind tunnel, is we had a few other trucks. They were all Fords. We had a Ford police cruiser. We had a Ford pickup truck, and this one. And this is a little more sleek. Yes, it's a truck and it's a pickup, but I want to see what happens with the airflow when it gets to this area. Usually what we see is cars, anytime there's a drop off, or in this case a bed, we see the airflow just kind of tail off right around the roof line. We're going to find out. I just want to see if that is the case. This truck did well. I'm wondering if it would have done better had the bed been sealed, because we've seen trucks like the Draftnator that have the bed has a cover on it, and they've been particularly fast. So just going to throw this custom Maverick into the wind tunnel, and if you have a car that you want to see in the wind tunnel, just go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and then find the car that you want and drop the number into the chat. I will pull that car, and we will be ready to see what the aerodynamic profile of that car is. Now let's go ahead and get this one set up here, and then Christopher, I will pull your cars while we're looking at the Maverick. Get that lined up in there. And the 22 Ford Maverick, nice sporty truck. Compared to the other pickup trucks that it faced, this one was definitely, at least in looking at it, it seems to have the best aerodynamic profile. And based on the performance, it had a better aerodynamic profile than the other cars that it faced. So let's get up to our cruising speed of 67 miles per hour. And we can already see the areas where in the front where the air is building up. Right here where you have this darker, I keep saying dark, there's no dark white, brighter white, lighter gray cover. That's where the air is hitting the front of this truck and has to decide, okay, am I going over, under, and around? And the air is doing its thing. It's at a pretty low speed, but you can still see the general direction of the airflow. So let's go ahead and turn the speed up. Now we're up to 94 miles per hour. And see how the air is flowing. And interestingly enough, when we get to this back area, you can see it tailing down as opposed to tailing off and up and just out. Let's go up to 121 miles per hour. And again, there's still that air building up in the front, which is an area of higher pressure. And then when the air starts to separate from the body of the car, creates an area of lower pressure. And air is essentially, the pressure is trying to go from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. And that works against the car's forward momentum. So you want a car that's actually going to minimize the impact of that pressure drag. And this is a good looking thing. Let's see. Never Ending says those trucks are pretty fast on my track. Yeah, I'm very curious to know how cars. So we talked about the Blitz Speeder, and then now you're saying this truck. But any car that races on our track, our flat drag track, that does well, that you have put on your track, I'm definitely curious to know how they do, how their performances compare. We're at 121 miles per hour. Let's turn this up. We're going to go to 147, and I am going to go and pull Christopher's cars. I believe they are 621 and 859. So I'm going to go grab those cars, and then we'll take a look at those while the 22 Ford Maverick sits in the wind tunnel doing its thing. I'll turn it up to 161 and go get those other cars. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this one down. Slow this down, bring this back down. And we are going to look at the two cars that Christopher is thinking about selecting for this Saturday's races. And we will see. The first one is this one. It is the Cadillac. What are the details? I always forget. This is the Cadillac Project GTP Hypercar, and this car was one that I saw. I think I saw in an airport. In the airport. Before I'd seen it in stores and just had to pick it up. It was just like it's definitely one of my favorite cars that's been released in recent years, and I just knew that it was going to be fast on our track. I just thought it would be. It turns out that all that black is metal. Well, I guess I should distinguish. The black on the body is all metal, and then it's sitting on a plastic base. And if I remember correctly, this car ended up being kind of heavy. And hey, Caitlin, how you doing? The car ended up being heavy, and it didn't perform as well on the track as I would have hoped. But design-wise, it's still one of my favorites. And I've seen a yellow version in the store that I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet, but I like that version too. Definitely like this one. And here's the thing. We have cars that have already performed, that have raced on the track. And if they are between numbers 450 and 922, they've been on the track. And if they're not our fastest in fleet champion, which they're not, then you would think that, okay, this car already lost, so why pick it again? Well, now that we have a new fastest in fleet car, all those rules go out the window, because number one, the dogfighter, I'm going to put this in the wind tunnel. The dogfighter had already raced and had already lost, and then came back and won. The blitz speeder raced, lost, and then came back and won, and was our fastest in fleet car. So it is possible, and that maybe a car just had a bad launch, or there was some other issue that prevented it from doing as well as we thought it would do. But now it's a new ball game. It's like everything's been reset. Every car that's racing is probably racing. They're going to be racing a different car and challenging a new champion. So who knows what will happen. We are going to get this turned on. The Project GTP Hypercar. And this is a car that, if I had to pick, because there's three forces, we're at 67 miles per hour. And in the brighter white areas, the brighter grays, you can tell that's where the air is kind of building up. Going up to 94 miles per hour, 107. There are three factors, or three forces. There's gravity, there is friction, and there is drag. Those are the three forces that are working against the forward momentum of the cars. And I think that when certain cars come through that have very good aerodynamic profiles, such as this one, when they don't do as well as I thought they should, then there's probably one of those other forces is at play. And I think with this one, I don't remember. We'll find out on Saturday. It may have been the weight. And that could possibly be the thing that ended up doing this car in. Because otherwise, it's pretty clear that this car should have done better than it did. So maybe it got a bad launch. We're going to see if Christopher ends up going with this car on Saturday, what happens. Let's see. Move it to the side. Yeah, I'll move it over. Right now we're at 174 miles per hour. Schools for the STEAM project. So, for All About Aerodynamics, typically I am just contacted directly, or there are some schools that I've worked with, mainly here in the Southern California area. But there is an online version of the class that is available. And so anyone who's interested in finding out more about the program can go to our website, aerodynamics.com, and the contact information is there. They can give me a call, send me a email, go on Instagram, send me a direct message, and we can just kind of work out the logistics, the time, and there we go. I guess the Windsible is telling me, hey, it's time to switch cars. So we've got this one. Let me see. Christopher, you wanted it moved to the side. Let's see. Let's push it over a bit. Get this lined up here. So with this one, all right, we've got it moved over. So some of the cars, we'll move them to the side just to get an idea about how, if there's any difference with the airflow. Some of the cars have little different design elements that could possibly impact the airflow in a different way. So let's see, we're at 67 miles per hour. Let's get this turned up. We are at 147 miles per hour, and I don't know that we're seeing much different in terms of the airflow and what's happening. I mean, I don't think it's anything that's going to significantly impact this car's performance. And this is one car that I really do hope it does well. If this is the car that Christopher ends up selecting, I want to see it back on the track, and hopefully it can have a better outcome. And sometimes, as I mentioned, these races are just about matchups, like any other sport. This car could go up against any number of cars, maybe that Ford Maverick, and maybe it could beat it. But then when it goes up against a different car, the Gazella, the Draftnator, the Track Tune, the Slide Kick, those cars, no, not so much. It's not going to have the same outcome. So let's go ahead and switch over to take a look at the other car that okay. Oh, well, it looks like Christopher he's locked in on this GTP. So we will just take a glance. This was the other car that he was considering. Just a Mustang. And this car raced fairly recently, I think. This was, because this is car 859, and we're only at 922. So this one actually did race within the last, few months. And I don't remember how it did. I know that we have a lot of Mustangs in the fleet. So if Mustangs are your thing, we've got you covered. Because we've got more than our share of Mustangs, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Batmobiles. There will be so many more Ferraris to come, because Mattel and Hot Wheels and Ferrari, there's a new deal in place, new licensing, so those cars will be on the way. Let's see. Caitlin wants car 652. Let's see which car that is. 652. Scrolling. Keep scrolling. 652. We are, can't believe, 922 cars. When we get to 1,000, I will start a second page. But for now, it's probably not a good idea to have 900 pictures on one page, but it's worked out so far, so I'm not gonna complain. Oh, I went right past it. 652 is the Space Ranger Alpha Buzz. So this is interesting. This has a similar design look to the Cadillac that we were just looking at. So that will be an interesting matchup if we get there. So Christopher's locked in with that Cadillac, and Caitlin wants this Alpha Buzz. There's another Buzz Lightyear themed car, but this one is definitely the one of the two that I would go with if I were making a pick. So let's go ahead and see. 652. I will pull that, but while I'm pulling that, we're gonna throw. Let's throw this car. We'll put this Ford Mustang GTD. We'll put that in the wind tunnel, and I will let that go while I go and pull Caitlin's Space Ranger Buzz Lightyear car. Make sure this is lined up straight. And let's see what this car's aerodynamic profile is all about. Crank this up, get up to our cruising speed of 67 miles per hour. I don't know how they decided to make these jumps on the Windsible. So you turn it and the increments are, so it starts at, it goes to 13. Oh, maybe it's all 13. No, it's not. Well, kinda. 67. Yeah, it's more, okay, so it's more or less 13. Yeah, for the most part. Okay, now I see what they're cooking. I see what they're up to. Okay, we're at 121 miles per hour. And Never Ending's going with 189. So let me write this down so I can go grab those cars. 189. And of course, even with this 189 car, Never Ending is still the guy who picked the dog fighter, our current champ. So he will have two dogs in the fight, as they say. We're up to 161 miles per hour, and I'm going to go pull those two cars, and then we'll take a look at them. All right, now let's go ahead and see what we've got here. That was pretty standard. Look, okay, now here we go with this Buzz Lightyear Alpha Buzz car. Move it back just a little. And you can see, I'll put this up here and put this Cadillac there. Not identical. Let me back the camera out. Not identical, but very, very similar. In terms of they both have this fin coming off the roofline right down the middle. This kind of high fender, these right here at the front, the cockpit driver's canopy kind of sits back a little bit. Both kind of low. Got the low profile and very similar. Now the Alpha Buzz does not have a wing going across the back. It just has the fin, but so does the Cadillac. So let's go ahead and see what this Alpha Buzz has for us. I know it's definitely a car that's raced. I remember buying it. I don't remember it racing, but the fact that it's in the fleet means that at some point it raced. And let's go ahead and take a look at it in the wind tunnel. And yes, Christopher, we had the dogfighter in the wind tunnel to start off with, and it did fit in, and it was kind of interesting. I don't know how much, I don't know if we learned anything about why it did it as well as it did, but it was definitely interesting watching the air kind of interact with that front part of the car. And there we go. Let's take a look at this Alpha Buzz Lightyear car. See what we see. And we're going to jump on up to our cruising speed of 67 miles per hour. And what I think is immediately interesting is the airflow, of course, is hitting the bumper, the hood, the driver's canopy, and then flowing across the top. But what we're not seeing is really as big of a buildup right in the front that we saw with that Cadillac. And that's kind of interesting. That Cadillac does have a splitter, and it does have a bit more where this car, the nose, it comes to a point. That Cadillac had a splitter, and then it was kind of flat right in this area. So I think that's why we saw a little bit more air building up in the front, whereas this one, we don't have that issue at all. And we're up to 134 miles per hour. Hey, Roughshod, how you doing? No worries. We have this up to 161 miles per hour, and airflow looks good, coming right up over the top. Nothing wrong with this one that I can see, and it appears that this has more plastic on it, so it should probably be a little lighter than the Cadillac, which is all metal. I'm sorry, not all metal. It's a metal body on a plastic base, where a lot of these Hot Wheels cars are plastic bodies on metal bases, or and then there are metal on plastic. It just depends. But the real question is going to be, what is the weight of that Cadillac compared to the weight of this one? We're up to 174 miles per hour, and I think that from what we can see here, all the aerodynamic indicators are good, and I don't really see much of a problem with this car. I don't remember how it performed, but I don't see any reason why it shouldn't do well if it gets a good launch. Getting a good launch is probably the first most important thing that can happen to a car on our track, and then after that, everything else comes into place. So we have the Alpha Buzz right here, and that is our Caitlin's pick. And then Never Ending, he already came through with the wildest pick of the, well, I'm not going to say the wildest pick, because he's picked some wild stuff before. A tank was in there, but those sort of off-the-wall picks, like the Dogfighter. The Dogfighter proved to be the ultimate sleeper, and now he's decided to pick this one. I think this is the Turbo Rooster. Let me double check. This is in fact the Turbo Rooster, and it's another of those cars that we can put it in the wind tunnel, and we're going to. But where do you even begin? We're looking at the back end, and this is the only point that's going to be touching the launching block, which is usually not a good sign. But as we saw with the Dogfighter, we can't have a hard and fast rule. And like I tell the students, that's the whole point of science, is you have to be open to new ideas. And we thought the Blitz Speeder was the ultimate car, and that certain other cars didn't have a chance, but it was beaten. And when we have the evidence that shows us something different, then we have to accept that, but then try to understand why that is. And with cars like this, the Turbo Rooster, that's going to be difficult to figure out why this car performs in whatever way it ends up performing. Now, just a little side note that it feels like, I guess it is plastic with this, with this Alpha Buzz car. The green part's definitely plastic, so it's a plastic base. And the white part is plastic. It just feels heavier than a plastic on plastic car typically would. So I don't know if there's some metal parts in here. I think maybe the black part right there, I think that might be metal, but we're gonna find out. This car's got some weight to it, which is surprising. So Saturday we weigh the cars before we take them to the track, and so that's kind of when we'll find out that part. That's the one thing that you can't really know in looking at the cars on the page. And if you want to participate, just go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose your car. You'll be taken to that page with all the cars listed. Find the car, drop the number in the chat. I'll pull it. We'll stick it in the wind tunnel. So with this one, it's just wild all around. The back is pointed, the front is pointed. Then it's got these wings up here. What will happen when the air hits those and flows through? We are about to find out. This is definitely unique, and it will be interesting when this car takes on, if it takes on the Dogfighter, and we'll see how it does. Let me get this thing lined up just right. All right, we are good to go. That all looks great, and we are going to see what happens with the Turbo Rooster. Never Ending's latest out of the box pick. So we can already see how the air is flowing over this very tall tail. I mean, pretty much like an airplane. But let's go ahead and turn this up, and we can see right in this channel, I don't know if it's as clear on the video, but right in this area, the air is coming through this channel and flowing out that way. You can kind of see it right there, that it's flowing right in here. It's hitting in that channel, but let's see what happens when we turn the speed up. We're up to 121 miles per hour, 134, 147. Now we see the air just building up just a little bit here as it hits the canopy and starts to flow over, under, and around that. And then the air just hits this channel and flows out. Now, I do need to check and see if I've got to make sure that the turbo Rooster, that these wings, because they kind of flare out, make sure that this thing will actually fit in the launcher. That is going to be critical. So I need to check that out. We're up to 174 miles per hour, 188, and again, you can kind of see the air's just flowing through that channel. I'm trying to get an angle that shows what's happening there, but it's a little tough. It's a little faint, but the air is coming right through that channel. What we don't have air that's funneling around the sides, so that's a good sign. But now ultimately I need to check and see if this is going to fit into the launcher, because if it doesn't, we're gonna have some trouble. So let's go ahead and see if it will fit. Hopefully it does, because this is a wild car that I definitely want to see in the mix. Let's switch the camera view over. Here we go. And we're going to see. It fits. Okay. Turbo Rooster fits into the launching channel. It is good to go. We are all set up. I am going to be, like I said, I went over to the shop and I got all these pieces of acrylic cut, and now I just have to put together the modified acrylic cover. It's going to have one side for a taller car, one side for a lower car. So now no car will have an advantage just because of the height of the cover. I do have to go buy this. It's this resin that comes with a UV light, and so you put it on and then you hit it with the UV light and then it cures and dries. So that should definitely be that will be ready by Saturday, unless there's some unforeseen problem. But I got twice as much acrylic as I need, so I'll be able, even if something goes wrong with the first try, I'll be able to come back again, get it all straightened out. So we are going to have our fastest in fleet car, our new fastest in fleet car, the Dog Fighter, is going to have to prove that it was not a fluke, that it did not take advantage of that acrylic cover differential to win, and that it just can beat any car that it comes up against. So we're going to find that out. I am also going to be going live because I am still looking for a base for this the new Hot Wheels video racer I'm making. I mentioned before that I found this video camera. It's like a little video spy cam. It's supposed to look like a USB drive, but there's a camera, a video camera right there. And we're going to mount this to something. So I've got this GoPro, the GoPro Zoom In, which I chopped the sides, mounted it on top, but it just weighed too much. So oh, it's green, so you can't see it. But then Christopher, another great idea, said, why don't you use the skate grom? So I bought another skate grom. I am going to cut off some of the extra plastic and these tabs, mount the camera on there, and that will probably be the lightest version of this new video racer that I'll be able to find. I also am going to give it a shot with this Lego Hot Wheels thing here, and also Roughshod mentioned the Formula Solar right here, and I got another one of these, and I'm going to just take this apart, chop that off, and see if this is the best base for the video camera. So all kinds of, I got little construction projects going on. I got we've got the races coming up on Saturday 11 a.m. Pacific at the Track Live, YouTube and Twitch. We will be here. We're going to find out the dog fighter's got what it takes to take that title and run with it, or maybe the Turbo Rooster, or this Cadillac, or the Alpha Buzz, or some other car is going to come out on top. We will find out. If you would like more information about our science program, just visit aerodynamics.com or AtTheTrack.live on Instagram. Contact me and we can work out the details, and I can give you all the information you need about how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. So, Wind Tunnel Wednesday in the books. If you want to go back and see that race from last Saturday on our YouTube channel, just go into the live tab and boom, it's right there, and you will see exactly what the dog father did. It made All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live history, and we'll see if it can continue that this Saturday. So, for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, for All About Aerodynamics, for At the Track Live, I am Coach James, and until next time, I will see you at the races.